what we have witnessed today was peak Jeff Blashill. Peak Jeff Blashill. We are going to 3-on-4. 3-on-4 in overtime. And when I saw the first guy off the bench for that first line for 3v4, I was so happy because it was Moritz Seider, the best defender on this whole team. That makes sense. You want to know the second guy that I saw off the bench? Danny DeKeyser. The worst defenseman next to Mark Stahl that I've seen in my whole life. Why is he out there? Explain why Danny DeKeyser is on the frickin' ice. His skates should never touch the ice in overtime, especially not on a 3-on-4. And then Sam Gagner. Sam Gagner is a solid fourth liner who can get you a few goals now and then. Not the guy that you put out there for 3-on-4 hockey. Explain that, Jeff Blashill. There better be an immediate explanation in your post-game press conference. I have seen you make some horrendous decisions, but this one is one of the most horrendous. You do realize we are in a spot to contend for a playoff spot for the first time in like 5 or 6 years. And you're flushing it down the toilet by putting Danny DeKeyser and Sam Gagner on the frickin' ice when it's 3-on-4 hockey in overtime against the Dallas Stars. What are you doing? Yzerman brought you back because he thought if I give you pieces to compete, you will do a good job. It's just been because you haven't had a good team to put on the ice. Yzerman gives you a playoff level team. A team that can get into the playoffs and win games. You have defenders, not just defensemen. You could have put out Seider, and then next to Seider, Roenick. He's a good defender and he can score. And then center or forward or whatever that you want. You could have put Larkin. You could have put Bertuzzi. You could have even put Pius Suter, would have made more sense because he's a good defender. Actually, no, I take that back. You put Seider and Leddy on defenseman, and then Larkin at center, or you put Seider and Bertuzzi and Larkin. Like, there are so many line combinations that make 100 times more sense than Danny DeKeyser and Sam Gagner. I'm not going to complain about Moritz Seider. He was always on his assignment. He was always on his assignment, doing his job, playing good defense, like Moritz Seider has done this whole year. But you want to know who missed their assignment and allowed that goal to go through? Danny DeKeyser. Sam Gagner, I'll give him a bit of credit. He actually played good defense there for a little bit. But Danny DeKeyser missed the assignment. I know people are going to say, well, Nedeljkovic should have made the save. Nedeljkovic was not having his best night. And I'm not even going to get that mad at him because he's carried this Wings team to a lot of its wins. And some nights he's not going to have a good night. The best goalies in the history of the game had bad nights. Nedeljkovic is going to have a few. And sometimes we got to be able to bail him out on offense and on defense when he isn't performing. He was still performing decently. In the third period, he went back to normal Nedeljkovic at that point. I just don't I just don't understand. I do not understand the thought process. Blashill, we need an explanation. This is the type of decision that gets you fired. This is the type of decision that you could make in a playoff game down the line that decides our season. This isn't just some one-time goof up. We've seen you draw up terrible schemes in overtime. We've seen you put terrible lines in overtime. We've seen you put terrible lines in normal games. We've seen you pull the goalie when we're down one with like 5 minutes left in the game. We have seen you make some of the most horrendous decisions in the history of hockey coaching. And Stevie was willing to give you a bit of a pass because you didn't have the best team. Now you have a team. It's not the deepest team, but its first few lines are good. And it is definitely good enough to get a playoff spot. It's been proven by this team that we can get a playoff spot. And we're trying to get in front of the Bruins to get the last wild card spot. And we're getting closer to the All-Star break, which means these games matter more and more and more. If this was the beginning of the season, I wouldn't have been that mad. But now that we're getting closer and closer to the halfway point of the year, I am going to start taking these losses more seriously, especially when you pull crap like that. The team was playing well. Fabry was doing good. Larkin was doing good. Seider was doing good. Bertuzzi was doing good. Suter was doing good. Like, the players were playing good. And then Blashill screws us. He screws us. And it's just inexcusable. It's absolutely inexcusable at this point. You've been an AHL coach for a while now. Multiple years in the NHL. This isn't your first time doing this. And it might be your last. Because this is just... You're taking a good team and dragging it down. And making it worse. I don't even know what else to say. There are no more excuses for Jeff Blashill. It's that's all there is. It's just he's incompetent when you need to make game time decisions, I guess. I don't know what else to say. Should have won this one. Should have had 2 points. Gotten closer to getting to the Bruins. But instead, we only have 1 point, and we're another step behind. Do better. Just do better. Or Stevie's going to have to fire you. See you guys next time. As always, I'm not funny, and just Blashill. Like, I don't even know what goes through your mind during this. So it's hard to find reasoning. See you guys next time.
Just got unlucky on a few plays tonight. You know, one of those plays, I thought he was standing still, but he just hit the shit out of that one guy, and the guy went flying. They blew the whistle, and they called it on him.